Yo, what's up guys, I'm Yanick from the Produce School, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make techno rumbles, which can turn a kick from this into this. I'm going over the techniques that you can use to create these kind of techno rumbles, and I'm also going to give you some tips how you can give your own twist to them. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and with that being said, let's get straight into the video. Most sounds that I'm using in this video come from our latest techno pack called Inferno, which is the ultimate modern techno producer pack, including serum presets, samples, vocals, project files, kick racks, and so much more. If you want to check it out, then click the link over here or use the link in the description, and any support is always appreciated. To create a techno rumble, I'm going to start with a kick. I picked one of the kicks from the Inferno pack. This one is the one I picked. You want to look for a kick that's not too long and not too short as well, because when it's too long, it's like really hard to make it sound good with the rumble, because then you have a lot of frequencies that are clashing with each other and get a muddy mix. And when it's too short, it's really hard to create a fat rumble out of it. So go look for something in between, like this one. It's punchy, it has a nice low end, and it's not too long. I'm going to show you two ways that you can utilize to create techno rumbles. First one will be based around a send, and the second one will be based around the plugin called Patcher, which you can find in FL Studio. So let's start off with the first one, and that's by using a send. In order to create the rumble, I think it's useful to understand what a send is. Let me first show you what a send does. So let's select the initial kick channel, this one, and in FL Studio you have all these arrows over here, and then we're going to send this output of the kick to this channel, which basically creates a copy of the signal. As you can see, the signal is duplicated because it gets way louder. Create this big rumble effect, we're gonna add a reverb to the send channel. The first thing you want to do is to put the dry level all the way down, so 0%, and put the wet level at 100%. And this makes sure that only the wet level of the reverb is playing, and when you play it with the original signal, it will sound like this. In order to just listen to the wet rumble signal, you have to go to the mixer, select the original signal, and then unroute it from the master channel by left clicking this arrow over here. And now you just have the wet rumble signal. Let's start shaping this reverb. I'm going for a decay around 1.7 seconds, like that. Let's change the size, like so. As you can hear, this reverb has a lot of stereo information, but most of your low end should be in mono. And in order to make this reverb mono, we have this separation button over here, and then just drag it all the way to the right, and then your reverb is mono. The second thing you want to add is either a distortion or saturation plugin. For that, I will be using the plugin called Camel Crusher. It has a bunch of nice presets and it's free, so you can use it as well. This one just crushes the signal completely, which sounds like this. That sounds really bad, but I promise that we're going to fix that in the next step. I might want to check out this preset as well. Even more crunchier. After you have distorted the signal, you want to add an EQ to filter it down, and for that I'm going to create a high cut like this and put it around 200 Hz or something. And And now most of that distorted reverb sound is filtered down and you get nice low rumble. Let's make sure we can hear the original kick as well by routing it to the master again by pressing left click on this little arrow. Now you can hear that we're already getting there, but I want to add a few more effects. First effect I want to add is another distortion plugin. This one is called Decapitator. It's from Sound Toys and it's a really good distortion or saturation plugin. Let's just first put up the drive so we can hear how it sounds like. I'm adding another distortion to the chain so I can bring back some of that harmonics that we lost when we filtered down the signal. So now I want to add a little bit of distortion to the sound again. And let's put the dry level or wet level around here. So without the decapitator and with. Now there's one thing we need to fix, and that's the clashing between the kick and the rumble. And we're going to do that by sidechaining the rumble to the kick. I'm going to do that by adding a fruity limiter, because it gives me full control of how the sidechain works. When you open it up, you see limit and compression. That's like the compression part, because we're sidechain compressing it. Then you see there's a box which says sidechain, and you want to put it up to 1 because that's the channel of the original kick. So now we have the signal of the rumble sidechained to the kick. When I play it, it's not making any difference to the sound, and that's because we first have to set the ratio and the threshold. Mostly for techno kicks I go for a compression ratio of around 2 or 2.4 or something like that. I don't know exactly why, but a ratio of 2 to 1 usually does the job. Now you can hear that it's not doing anything again, and that's because we have to set threshold. So when we set the threshold all the way down, it gets sidechained a lot. So you can really hear how it's ducking in the rumble sound. You can barely hear the rumble sound anymore. So let's just start putting up the threshold. That's sounding pretty good. And that's how you create a basic techno rumble. To give you an idea how that can sound in a track, I added some drums, just really simple, but this is what that sounds like. Now I want to show you another way how you can create techno rumbles, and that's by using the plugin called Patcher. It's a plugin inside FL Studio, and let me just first open it up to the right channel. With Patcher, you can add a lot of effects and go crazy with modulations and stuff like that. But I'm not going to do that within this video because I'm not really a Patcher expert myself. I just know how to use certain things within this plugin. But the reason why Patcher is so powerful for techno rumbles is that it lets you split a lot of different signals that you can add different effects on and go really crazy with them. So when I press play, there's no sound coming. And that's because there's no output from FL Studio to FL Studio. Let me show you right here. So we have to attach this line to this one. So now there's output. Right click this button over here to insert a plugin. Let's start off with a reverb because I want to create the same kind of rumble that we did with the synth. I'm going to shape the reverb the same way as I did with the synth method. So let's lower down the dry level, put up the wet to 100%, move the low cut like this, and make it mono. And now you hear that we only have the wet level of the reverb because we turned down the dry level over here. And in order to bring back the dry level of the kick, we're going to link this from FL Studio to FL Studio again. So this line over here is now the dry signal of the kick. And then here it goes through the reverb, and that's the rumble. To add another effect, just right click this button over here, and let's just insert a camel crusher like that. What else do we have? We need a reverb. This is just the same as I did for the send method. So low cut it like so. I think we added a decapitator, right? So let's put it in there as well. This not only gives you a nice visual of how the effect rack looks like, but you can also add way more effects that you can do with just the mixer rack, because I think it's like you have 10 slots, and with Patcher you can add like, I don't know, hundreds of plugins to create a nice sound. So that's how it sounds right now. If you want to add effects to the dry kick, you can go to this audio input button, insert a plugin like a decapitator, I don't know. Now it's in there, and then it sounds like this. Another thing you can do is creating a third chain. For instance, you want to add more high frequencies, then just add a plugin, like let's start with a camel crusher. Link this button over here and put it to the output as well. And then add an EQ to remove the low frequencies, because the bass already has that in there. Let's go for a preset like this. And with this you can create a nice top layer to your kick if you want to. But let's like remove it for now. You probably want to know how you can sidechain the rumble to the original kick. That's also something you can do within Patcher. Just add the limiter, which we used in the first method, at the end of the rack. And now you can select a sidechain input, and that's because we have to add an audio output from the rumble to the original kick. You can do that by right clicking the through delimiter and then inputs, audio, add one. And now you have this orange button over here. Drag it to the original output over here, and then there should be sidechain available. There it is. So now it's sidechained. Let's set the same settings as we did with the send method. As you can see, it's the same way as you would normally do, but you just have to know the trick that you add another output from the limiter and send it to the original kick in order to sidechain it. And that's how you create techno rumbles in FL Studio. The first method with the send is a bit easier than the one with the Patcher, I think. Especially if you're not familiar with Patcher, it can look like really big and overwhelming. But once you know how it works, it's very easy and efficient to use. If you have any questions about the techniques that I used in this video to create the techno rumbles, then feel free to drop a comment and I will try to help you with that. For now, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.